Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geek Theory, episode number 2.
Welcome to our couch.
Yeah, our couch and our nerd area.
Our nerd shrine.
Nerd shrine. That's a good word for it. And in the middle is the book of nerdish.
What do you think the most expensive thing back here is?
The Young Avengers.
Yeah.
These were like insanely expensive. Anyway, okay, so we've got 2 topics today, but one of them is sort of a 2-part topic. We're going to be covering Force Friday, which, if you don't know, was Disney's recent merchandising push for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And we're also going to be covering something that I've been talking about for a while, and I sort of wanted to get it out there and see what you guys thought, which is the potential video game bubble. And one video game producer that's really
I think without saying we know who it is, but this is something that a lot of nerds on the internet have been talking about, so we just want to weigh in on this and put our 2 bits in.
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is Force Friday. We went to Toys R Us at midnight. Well, we actually went there earlier than that.
Yeah.
On Thursday night, so that we could get there and get some Star Wars toys.
There was a special Star Wars Toys R Us promotion where the first wave of Star Wars toys were being launched at Toys R Us. So there was a special midnight release where you go, you see people dressed up in the store. It was really well done.
Yeah, and as
with a small problem.
And as you can see, I'm playing some video right now. Maybe am I playing video? We're going to see. But yeah, there was one problem, and it's that there was a line literally around the block. Of this Toys R Us. There was like 60, 70 people there, and this was a kind of suburban area of town, so it was really impressive that many people went out of their way to go to this Toys R Us. And so we got in there, and we got like a free
poster.
We got a free poster.
2 free posters because there were 2 of us.
Yeah, a free poster, and then they had. I noticed as I was going a sign that said that basically everyone can only buy 4 of one particular toy. And I was like, okay, they must have a lot. And then I got there, and they had a display, 4 of these wide, so add on another one, 3 down, and probably maybe 4 deep. And by the time we got there, and like I said, we were only 15th in line, all gone.
Well, we hadn't even gotten to the section, and we saw people walking the other way with armfuls of this stuff.
Yeah, literally armfuls. I mean,
people just went and grabbed 4 of Kylo Ren right there.
Yeah, so
that when the time we got there, when James got there, he got there before I did because I took a long way around. I wanted to sort of see if I could sneak in the back. Didn't work. But by the time James got there, the only thing that were left were John Boyega.
Yeah,
there were 2 John Boyega figures. Maybe there was a Chewbacca, or was it just the John?
I think there was a Chewbacca and a John Boyega figure, and I sort of turned and looked at the Legos, and then I turned back, and they were gone.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to get any.
We should start referring to Ridley and Boyega as their names, which is Rey and Finn.
Yeah, we should.
I think those are really cool Star Wars names. Just gonna say, Luke, Han, and Leia. Those are really they're offbeat, but they're kind of still spacey, but they're still earthy. So it's really neat.
I feel like my eyebrows look insane right now. Anyway, so yeah, we didn't get anything. We got home and nothing. So I got up really early the next morning and went to Walmart, and that's where we got this stuff here that we have.
Yeah. Well, funny story. James only got Daisy Ridley and Rey and Kylo
Ren.
Kylo Ren. He got Kylo Ren. Tell the story.
Yeah, I went there and I was looking around the toy section. Obviously, that's where I figured they would be, and there was nothing. There was nothing there.
And it was weird because Walmart had for the last month a space cleared out on their toy section.
Yeah, we posted a picture on Twitter, I think, and there was just nothing there. I was like, what the hell? And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go home, but I thought I'll go to electronics first because I'm an electronics nerd. I always go to electronics departments, and there they had the Star Wars toys, and I looked, and again there was only John Boyega and Chewbacca, and so I was like, oh. But then they had some Legos, so I started looking through the Legos. And behind the most expensive Lego set, which was the Millennium Falcon, there I found Rey and Kylo Ren. Someone was hiding them, and I grabbed them and I ran for it.
You just wrecked a kid's Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, we went back later, and they had moved a lot of the toys back into the empty space on the toy section, and that's where I got... There were Kylo Ren's left, there were Daisy Ridley's left. There was only 1 Stormtrooper left.
Yeah.
So oddly. I feel accomplished for getting that. What I think happened is people would buy multiple Stormtroopers so they could have, a squad or something.
Yeah.
And we also decided to splurge and get this.
Yeah, and it's amazing. The wings move and everything. It's awesome.
It took us like 3 hours to build last night, 3.5. We had a grand old time. We messed up a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm just like looking at the.
I had to completely rebuild one of these upper wings like from scratch. Well, actually,
there was one point where you just like threw up. You're like, I give up.
Yeah, I just quit. I handed them to him. I was like, go, you do it.
It comes with a really cute Kylo Ren thing, like even with the like.
It has like
cross
1, 2,
lightsaber.
3, 4, 5, 6 figures with it.
Yeah, 6 figures.
And now there's like 5 other Lego sets we need to get now because
we want to get the Millennium Falcon. But we also want to wait and see what the second wave of Lego figures has, because they haven't released any of the Han, Luke, and Leia toys because Luke and Leia haven't been shown in previews, so they can't really spoil that.
Yeah, I'm at the second, and there's 5 of these, and I think there's going to be another 5 released probably around Christmas time.
Captain Phasma, Luke, Leia, Han, and the mysterious Snoke, who's being portrayed by Andy Serkis.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting.
But can I just say, I'm really impressed with the quality of these toys.
Oh, they're really high quality. They're not the little Star Wars toys we were used to. I got a Captain Phasma one.
They also sell those, but those are still pretty good too.
Yeah.
LucasArts has always done well with toys. I'm actually most impressed with the Lego, because we've posted pictures. We've told you that we buy Lego sets. We got one from Guardians of the Galaxy, the Milano, and we got a Quinjet. And this one is just on another level. Like, the amount of detail and
like you picked this up. This is heavy. This is like sturdy as hell.
And like the front opens up on the top, and then like the back opens up, and then the wings expand and and that's new Imperial shuttle.
Yeah, Kylo Ren shuttle.
Yeah, Kylo Ren's command shuttle.
Makes me excited.
And just like the amount of detail on the nose and on the top. And I brought the Quinjet sort of compare. And the Quinjet, it's cool. It's not as heavy. It's mostly hollow. The wing, there's lots of gaps in between the pieces.
And there's no gaps.
There's no gaps. It is
none.
Solid. it is like really solid. And they don't. The thing I'm most impressed about compared to most Star Wars Lego is that the old ones, they used to invent a lot of pieces. They made new molds and stuff. This one is mostly like pre-existing pieces, like flat pieces. I don't think they had to make anything special for this. They like recycled pieces, and I really like that, actually. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
So I think the Star Wars Lego sets are geared more towards collectors.
Yeah.
Whereas the Avengers and Marvel ones are geared more towards kids.
Yeah. And so there's probably going to be a second wave of Lego, because like you said, we haven't seen Luke, we haven't seen Leia, and we haven't seen Snoke.
Aside from the Millennium Falcon, we're probably going to wait for those.
Yeah, because and I understand Disney sort of hiding them merchandise wise, because we haven't seen them in the merchandising, as has happened before with like Avengers Age of Ultron. The merchandising can give away the story, but sort of on topic.
Like, that's kind of how you market. You have to give away little bits and pieces that make people want to know the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's sort of on topic. Right now, Disney's being very secretive with their Star Wars Force Awakens stuff.
Well, you think it's mostly J.J. Abrams that's just being
secretive. I do, because J.J. Abrams has this thing with all of his movies. He calls it the mystery box. He did what are those talks called?
TED Talks?
TED Talks. He did a TED Talk where he said it's the mystery box idea, that he always has something secretive. And that's what he's doing here, and I actually think it might end up backfiring on him. I really do.
Unless Disney takes over, because, like you said, after we went out and like looked at these toys, we bought these toys, we got looking at them, we like picked out little details, like, oh, this is really cool, and like we looked at the character biographies on the back, little blurb. Those are one language per paragraph.
Yeah. They're not. I got excited because I thought it was like a long description.
But, like, you even were saying, like, for the first time we were leaving Walmart, the second time you're like, for the first time ever, like, I'm excited for Star Wars.
Well, yeah, because the first trailer was nothing. It was like, look, it's a Star Wars movie. Awesome.
The second one was really good.
The second trailer was fun, but you got no story whatsoever.
They should have released another one.
We still don't know what the story of this movie is. It's really ridiculous that we have no idea. The movie comes out in 3 months. We have no idea the story of it. So I'm expecting that there's going to be another trailer soon. I expected one on Force Friday. Everyone did, but none. The thought now is that they might release one in November with Mockingjay Part 2.
Which would be a good move, because Mockingjay is going to be a heavy movie. I don't
think it would. That's only a month before the movie comes out.
It would be a better move to release another one between then and there.
Yeah, because that's only a month. before the movie comes out, and that's really risky because I mean, people in the industry now are saying, you know, Star Wars is going to break all the records, and people who actually have a brain in their head are like, no, because, you know, in December, you've got people spending money on Christmas. You've got the possible storms. There's a lot of things that are going to stop people from going to the movies, and it's not going to break Jurassic Park
I think it's definitely going to
Jurassic World's record.
I think it's going to do better after Christmas and maybe even after New Year.
Long term, I think it's going to be big.
People are going to want to go see Star Wars for Christmas. You know, it's after Christmas. It's Boxing Day. You know, you're bored. My mom and I used to do that all the time. After Christmas, we'd go see a movie.
Yeah.
We did. I think that's how I saw Inglourious Basterds, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, like going through, looking at the toys, seeing the new characters that they had all like a lot of the monster characters had the alien characters had names.
Yeah.
And that was cool. And a lot of the Lego sets were also depicting specific scenes of vehicles that we hadn't seen yet in the trailers. So in a way, this is kind of an advertisement on its own for the movie.
Yeah.
And after Force Friday, the way that Toys R Us just fucking sold out. Just sold out. I wouldn't be surprised if Disney is making a killer off of merchandising as it is without even the movie.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to make a fortune off the merchandising.
Yeah.
But it's sort of a weird thing because if The Force Awakens doesn't make $1 billion, it's going to be looked at as a failure.
Yeah.
Like, when you can... the only other movie really would be Age of Ultron. Like, that made over $1 billion, but because it didn't reach the first Avengers haul, it was considered a failure, even by Kevin Feige, and he has since blamed it on Perlmutter.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Let's move on to the next topic, though. The next topic, it's something that I've been talking about for a while, and a few other people have been talking about, internet journalists for video games and stuff.
A lot of reviewers, vloggers,
and it's...
Yahtzee, for instance, has been talking endlessly about
and
this.
Jim Sterling has.
Movie Bob.
And that's the video game bubble that a lot of us, definitely me, think that is going to burst. Now, a bubble is an economic bubble. A financial bubble is an economic term. And just to give you a really quick rundown of it, a bubble is basically when the price of something is inflated way beyond what it's actually worth. So, in 2008, the housing bubble in the United States popped because they had been inflating the cost of houses. So, you bought a house for like $500,000, but it was really only worth $250,000. And
so then there's no way for you to really... So it's more difficult for you to pay it back because you couldn't quite pay the mortgage because the mortgage was so high. Even if you sold the house, you wouldn't get enough money back on the house to pay off the mortgage.
Yeah, you were underwater. That's when you owe more money on something that it's worth, then you're underwater. Now, this isn't that big. There's not going to be a financial bubble like that.
Kind of explain how that relates to video games.
Okay, the way it relates to video games is right now, video games are coming out and they're basically priced at $60 to $70.
$70 here in Canada.
Yeah. So $60 to $70 in North America. It's a lot more expensive in Australia, I believe, in different places like that. But $60 to $70 roughly.
Well, what video games get to Australia?
Yeah. So 60 to 70. Let's say $70. Or $60. Let's say it's $60. Which you assume you're getting $60 worth of content. Which, when a game like Batman Arkham Knight comes out, there was, of course, the backlash because of the PC version not working. Yeah. But there's a hell of a lot of content in that game. Like, it's worth the $60.
Even though they announced a lot of DLC before the game got released, that is a complete game on its own.
Yeah, that is absolutely a complete game.
Beginning, middle, end, extras, like a lot of stuff to explore. Like, that's pretty full.
But then there's other games like Destiny, which has almost no single-player campaign.
Almost no single-player.
That you're paying full price for. You're paying, AAA game title prices for it, but you're not getting the content.
And also a lot of ridiculous things are being launched in expansions and DLC.
And people, people have noticed that games are basically being finished and then gutted by the publishers. They're taking 20, 30, 40% out of the game, and then they are releasing that as paid DLC because there wasn't DLC pre-developed.
Right. And
so you're paying full price for a game that was developed as a full game, but you're only getting 60% of it.
Now, the way I understand it, this was mostly rumor and conjecture from the video gaming community that this is what was going on, because it seemed a lot like that. Mass Effect was terrible for this. Mass Effect 2 and 3. 3
EA.
Especially.
Yeah.
It's an EA thing. Yeah. That's the mystery culprit. The mystery culprit. So
the mystery of the video game crash, starring EA Games.
Not much of a mystery. So that's kind of the thing, is that it was always just conjecture that these things were being done, that it was like a full game. But now we kind of have a bit more verification.
Yeah, I mean, it's been coming out from different sources, and it has been for years, really, different sources.
But this is the first time it really seems definitive, though, in a way.
Well, like the removing of stuff from DLC is a part of the
Removing stuff for DLC.
Is a part of the coming bubble bursting that I and a lot of other people are seeing.
And just including, like, even when
And
it
it's
comes
not.
to...
It's sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
It's not an industry-wide bubble. This is a specific AAA games bubble. These are the big games, the games that are being released that are charging $60, $70, but you're not getting the content for it. I mean, there are games. There are games. WB Games is really good for it. There was a lot of backlash about
Rockstar is really good for it.
Yeah, and Bethesda.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of backlash with
Bethesda
WB
releases
Games.
DLC, it feels like DLC. Ever since Horse Armor, they've been making sure that their DLC is golden.
But, you know, there was a lot of backlash from Mortal Kombat X because, you know, there were the microtransactions and stuff like that. But you didn't need to buy that to have the whole experience of the game.
They had 4 characters. I think it's $20 for them. I bought them.
But like, you didn't need to pay money to get the full game. Whereas with and sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes like
it's just the quality of the game really sucks, but they're charging $70 for it. Sometimes the game Force Unleashed 2, it's a really short game. It's like got nothing to it.
The Order was a game that came out this past year that really only had like 5 hours of gameplay, but they charged $70 for it. At the same time that Arkham Knight has like 30, 40 hours of gameplay easily, and they charge the same price for it. And that's where the bubble is sitting. Now,
at
some
consumers
point,
don't know what to buy because purchases make them anxious because they don't know what they're getting for their buck.
well, it's that, and people are going to start looking at things and say, you've burned me before, you're going to do it again, which is what is happening with Star Wars Battlefront.
That's the big one.
The producers behind Battlefront,
EA.
Well, EA is... EA,
Are they the distributor or the producer?
EA is the publisher. The developer is DICE Games, which is actually owned by EA. Now, DICE Games, the last big thing they did was Battlefield 4, which apparently was launched with tons and tons of errors. It was having to be patched like every 5 hours. It was just ridiculous.
It was unplayable for the first like 2-3 days.
And there was a lot of DLC for it, and a lot of stuff from the game was removed and things like that. And people took notice of that. They took notice of that, and now DICE is doing Battlefront, and so they're like, because they
Notice
released...
that DICE isn't being advertised in any of the trailers. It's all EA.
But the reason people are getting up in arms about Battlefront is because they released the content of it, and the content of Battlefront is 8 maps and 4 planets. Now,
so that's 2 maps per planet.
So on Battlefront 2, they had 33 maps and 16 planets. And you could fly in outer space. You can't do that now. Battlefront 2 had a single-player campaign, which Battlefront for the PS4 and the Xbox One does not have a single-player campaign. It's all online.
No space battles either.
No space battles.
Whereas where a lot of the maps for Battlefront 2 came from, actually. So just clarify that.
And in Battlefront 2, there were 37 controllable vehicles, 15 controllable turrets, and in this one, there's a non-controllable AT-AT.
So you get to control the turrets, you get to like shoot the guns, but you don't get to pilot it. No,
it's an on-rails AT-AT, and with 6 vehicles. So you've gone from 37 vehicles to 6.
Now,
and so people are looking at that and saying, okay, when I bought Battlefront 2, games were $59. Now they're $69, and I'm not getting nearly as much content. But you have already announced day and date DLC that I can buy.
Well, the big thing is that it was announced that of the game, the game was finished, and then EA decided to cut 40% of the game out, and release that as DLC.
40% is not the official.
It's roughly 4LC.
Roughly, with
4LC, 40%.
Yeah, because people have kind of done the math and done the number crunching and figured out, okay, if you're releasing, you're saying that there are more maps than you're announcing, so that means there's more maps for DLC. Like, they've just done the number crunching. They figured out it's about 40%. 30% is a conservative estimate.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this is really going to, I think, fly in the face of EA, and it's going to become a big problem.
That's more of a third of the game than that they've kept releasing. Like, if the maps they're having were huge, like the 8 maps, that would be okay, because if you had, like, more bots stuffed in the map, more NPCs, just more, like, ways for, like, the battle to go, better AI, like, that could be really fun. Just make the fewer maps more replayable than the more maps that were kind of basic.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like they're doing that, because where it was 32 players per map in 2, it's now 20. And also, there's no campaign, it's all online.
Yeah, there's no single-player campaign, it's all online. And it's games like this. Battlefront is just the most recent perpetrator of it. It's games like this, and a lot of EA games, The Sims 4, etc., that they come out, basically they're unfinished. They're either unfinished or things have been removed for them, and then you have to pay for the finished game after paying for the game up front.
Assassin's Creed, another bad one.
Assassin's Creed. And of course there are mobile games that are terrible for this. The free-to-play games that, like Dungeon Crawler, I think, or Dungeon Creeper, something like that, where you literally, in 24 hours, you can, like, carve out, like, a small little portion of the dungeon you need to carve out, and then you can pay to carve more, or you can wait 24 hours to do it again.
Yeah.
Games like that, just, like, they irritate people. And say what you will about Nintendo, they don't do that. They give you a full game.
Yeah, they
like
do.
when they released DLC for Mario Kart, that was new maps, that was new drivers, that was new vehicles. Like you get, and it's the same with Bethesda. Bethesda gives you a massive game.
Well, that's what everyone says when Bethesda releases DLC. It's another world. I mean, I was a little bit disappointed with Dragonborn, not because it sucked. I love Dragonborn. I was just, when I played Blood Moon on Morrowind, the Blood Moon expansion on Morrowind is the same place as Dragonborn and Skyrim. It's the same island. It was a little bit smaller, a lot smaller in Skyrim, but there was a lot more to do. There were a lot of stuff to do in there still. So
yeah,
it's still, you know, it's still DLC, but you can play the game without it and it's fine.
Yeah, and another reason this bubble is happening is because a lot of video game publishers and developers are paying hundreds of millions of dollars to develop these games. Like $500 million was put into Destiny. And I don't know if it made its money back or not. I have no idea. I don't know the full numbers, the sales numbers, because Microsoft...
Well, especially you don't charge $60 for a movie ticket.
It's Bungie. And
you don't charge $60 for movie tickets. And movies are a lot more expensive to make than games. So,
for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, no movie has officially got to $500 million yet. And granted, that was a lot of R&D and stuff like that. So Avatar definitely crossed that number. But it's just sort of like they've got themselves in this really precarious situation now, where they have started selling these games that they're charging a fortune for. I mean, they're charging $60, $70 for these games. Some of them don't have nearly as much content as others, and so it's creating, I think, consumer mistrust.
Yeah.
And at some point, consumers are going to be like, you know what?
Well,
I'm going to hold off.
It's going to be on a game that a AAA developer is going to put like 10 million into. And
10 million.
Or some, I don't know.
Like 300 million.
Really?
Well, Destiny was 500 million.
Oh, I thought you said 5 million. Whatever. Oops.
No. I bet they wish it was 5 million.
Okay, never mind. But it's going to get to the point where they spend a lot of money on one of these AAA titles, and early release players are going to be like, look, don't play it. It's not worth It's not worth $70. Because, you know, we're in a tough time. It's harder to make money. It's harder to get work. It's harder to... You have to be more... what's the word I'm looking for?
Frugal?
You basically have to delegate your money a lot better.
Yeah.
So it's like, I better hold off on that game. I looked excited for it, but I better hold off on it and buy this other game.
Yeah.
Or spend money on food. Or Lego. Or action figures.
Yeah.
So it's gonna come to a choice between spending money on that $70 game, $60-$70 game that didn't get great pre-release views, or spending money on something you know that you're going to have more enjoyment out of.
Yeah. And so it's really a consumer thing. I mean, you can stop them from releasing these games with these insane, you know, unfinished games and stuff. Just don't buy it.
Yeah,
Don't buy it opening
that's-
week.
that-
Wait and find out. Like, don't buy it opening day. Wait a week. Find
the
out.
adage, money talks. If you don't want the developers to keep doing these things, don't buy these shitty games.
Yeah.
Well, Battlefront might be an okay game. It's just not enough of it, which therefore makes it a bad game.
I mean, it might be an amazing game. It might be the gameplay might be out of this world amazing. Out of this world Star Wars. But it might be like the perfect online game. But
I hate playing online with other people.
yeah,
I really do.
I mean,
can't
I
stand
have
it.
very much the opinion of I play a video game to just play it by myself usually, or like with some friends in a room.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I want to play something online.
'Cause,
And
people
how
are
can you
mean.
charge?
People are mean.
How can you charge $70 for a game that has almost no content in it, and then charge $30 for Minecraft, which has completely Minecraft and mobile games have completely dominated the
I've
gaming
sunk
industry
more
lately.
hours into Minecraft than, well, I think that's Minecraft would be only second to Morrowind, because I played Morrowind a lot.
So yeah, that's our opinion on the video game bubble that is about to crash. Our light is changing, as you can probably see if you've just like watched through this
going
video.
down.
So I want to thank you for listening. You can, I hope you like and subscribe this video. We're going to be putting out videos probably 3 times a week.
And also-
videos like this. We're also going to do solo videos like once a week.
We're gonna try getting into that. We need to conceptualize a bit more.
Yeah, work that
and
out.
stuff, and hopefully we're gonna be doing podcasts.
Yeah. So the
yeah.
aim of this is videos like this on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursday we'll put out different
Maybe
kinds of
solo
videos.
videos,
Yeah, so
We're talking about some stuff.
yeah, there'll be lots of content. So if you like this, you'll probably like what else we're gonna do. So I hope you like and subscribe. My name is James,
I'm Nick.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.